So I'm just obviously sat in my car. I've just come out of a record fair that I go to now and then. There's a circuit of record fairs, every other month, sort of. Well, they're sporadically different towns, throughout the year, sort of thing. And so I like to go to them now and then when they're on, when I'm free or whatever. Sometimes just to walk about and see what's what, but invariably I end up with a bag of CDs. Like I have today. I've got like over 20 CDs. Thing is, they're so cheap now, relatively. I don't really feel that bad about doing it. So, they're from anywhere from like 50p for like shit albums. But you can find the odd good one for like a quid. And then anywhere up to sort of standard £3, £6 for an album, maybe more if it's like a double or like some limited edition thing, or whatever, or a box set or whatever else. But I'm walking away with a bag full of CDs, bag full of albums, and I haven't spent an obscene amount of money. I've spent about 60 quid. But for the amount of albums, it's really, sorry, excuse me, not too bad. Whereas if I was buying vinyl, which 80% of the stuff in there, 90% of the stuff in there is vinyl, it's a proper record fair. Fuck, it's so expensive. I do buy vinyl now and then. But yeah, usually if it's just like a limited edition, like I'm more of a massive Guns N' Roses fan, so I'm a bit of a collector of that sort. So mine's very niche. Fuck, man, it's just crazy. It's not even the original pressings or anything either. Even the reissues are like, unreal, really expensive. So yeah, and you can easily drop hundreds of pounds and not come away with that many albums. Yeah. So yeah, that's why primarily I stick to the CDs now because vinyl's gone up so much. CDs are just they're dirt cheap, man. Although they are meant to be coming back up in price because they've become retro, right, and become popular again with younger people who like formats again. So it's a bit annoying. It's pushing the price a little bit up, I reckon, but I've not noticed it too much. I mean, you can still obviously walk in and out of the charity stores, thrift stores, and get CDs for £1 each. So I'm not quite feeling it just yet on that price hike, but yeah. So I've done alright today. Done alright. Yeah. I don't know. Like there is something still about. It's a generation thing. I think. I say that obviously, like I said, the young people are now starting to buy vinyl and CDs. I think they're starting to appreciate. There's something about having an album, like having a format or something tangible in your hands. You've got the artwork, and of course, like there's something to be said for listening to an album from start to finish in the order that the artist intended, right? For you to listen to the album in. Unlike the whole digital MP3 thing that where it just very much became just individual tracks, right, and skipping through, and a whole generation of people literally probably never listened to an album end to end, back to back, sorry, from start to finish. You probably have never listened to an album in that way, the way it's intended. They've just got playlists and stuff, that they go to, which is a shame. But at the same time, I get it, I understand it. I jumped on that bandwagon too. It's not like okay, so I suppose I'm lucky in the sense that I'm a child of the 80s, so like, you know, it's vinyl, cassette, CD, and then I was still young enough to be interested in the whole digital revolution sort of thing. So, you know, I've got I've got countless um, albums on digital. But for me, it was always, I never lost the appreciation for something tangible. Of course, people that are older than me would turn their nose up at a CD because to them it's always about the vinyl, right? Which I totally get. I do get it. Like it's something even more special, like gatefold, you know, double spread vinyl. You know, the artwork and everything. It's bigger, it's better, isn't it? It's like you got an album. But like I said, for me, it's always been like CDs really. And say what you will about the way it sounds. Again, I appreciate why you've got the purists that are like vinyl was warm, it's the way it should be, sort of thing, you know, especially original pressings or whatever, you know, before they were remastered and all the rest of it. I totally get it. And I've had the privilege to sit and listen to albums played in that way. Because I think there's something to be said for that. A lot of people think, oh, wait, it's great, it's been remastered, right? I'm getting the remastered reissue. Doesn't necessarily always mean it's better, right? It's been remastered, but it's technically been changed. I think a lot of people think, oh, it just means it's been enhanced, so it's going to be better. But there's people that will swear blind that that's not always the case, right? Sometimes it probably is. So I think it's always nice to hear the difference. At least try to hear the difference. Or at least for your favourite albums, right? Listen to them how they were originally put out versus remastered, reissued, and even vinyl versus CD. You know. But yeah, but for me, grew up with CDs. By and large, I mean, just no crackling, no popping, no, you know. For me, it was a no-brainer, and just obviously so much easier, right? And they take up less room. Albeit, well, I say that when you've got when you're getting into the thousands, they take up room. I don't have an obscene amount of CDs. I think, yeah, last count, I've probably got about 1,500 or something, 1,500 CDs, which is more than the average person has. If anyone has fucking CDs anymore. But what I'm saying is, before the whole digital thing came along, what most people's CDs collections would have been, the average person, yeah, wouldn't have that many. But I've got nothing like compared to, you know, collectors, people that have been buying and collecting albums for a lot longer than I have. I mean, just some of the guys I follow on YouTube, yeah, they've got thousands and thousands. 5,000 CDs, 10,000 CDs, 20,000 CDs. And when you're getting into the whole, like, you know, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 CDs, you're talking like, that's like a whole room's full of like walls. Every wall, like full on shelving units, like the whole thing is a music room, right? Crates and crates and crates. I'm fitting 1,000 CDs on like a big unit. And you know, it's funny because like my girlfriend doesn't get it. I don't think. I think she thinks it's. I mean, it looks cool as well. no two ways about it. There's something about having a wall of music, like a huge floor to ceiling shelving unit like mine is, virtually full of CDs. So it looks cool as well, you know. I think, um, and it's just something I can't bring myself to. I am adding to still now, like today. To be honest, I did go through a big period of not buying any CDs for quite a while. And that's when I jumped on the whole like download thing, right? Because I thought, wow, like virtually anything at your fingertips sort of thing, and like, oh, it doesn't take up any space, it's all on a hard drive and all that, you know. Lo and behold, my hard drive corrupted. It wasn't all backed up. So yeah, CD's never going to do that to me. So yeah, and I'm thankful that I never actually got rid of them. Um, I know people that have, my brother being one of them. I ended up taking a few of his. Not that many though, to be honest. Like I probably took like 15, 20 CDs off him, but then the rest just went to charity. And yeah, I just couldn't. I never got on board that far with the whole everything's on my hard drive business. I always like the mix of the two. I think the accessibility and don't get me wrong, it's great. He's got a Sonos system, and you know it's on like his iPad, and just scroll through the list, and all of his albums are there on the hard drive linked to the NAS network or alphabetical, or whatever order you wanted to see it, and go through it, boom, you know, plays. It's a lot easier, right? It is something very cool about having your whole library digitalized right there for you to scroll through. Like, and it's still awesome. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I never got on to the point where I thought, wow, I'm just going to get rid of my CDs. Apart from anything else, I think because it also like tells us it's just like a story of like you, right? Like you look at someone's music collection and it's them. It says a lot about them and who they are and everything like that. And it's years. It's like years of collecting, right? Because I mean, it's not like I'm going to record fairs like every week or something. It's just normal people just don't do that, right? You buy normally, like you just buy an album now and then, don't you? Or when one comes out from a band you like, whatever. And over years, you amass a collection, of a substantial size or whatever. Years, like years and years. I've been buying CDs since '97, since I was 17, I believe, maybe 16, 96. Certainly by '97, I was getting them for Christmas. I was like trying to complete my Pink Floyd collection and all that, and I think it just grew from there. I might have had one or two, like maybe a handful of CDs prior to that when I was like 15 or whatever. But before I even had a player, because people would buy them or whatever, and I was like, oh, I need to get a CD player now. So yeah, I just slowly grew from that. But certainly by the time I was 16, 17, it was CDs all the way. I had quite a substantial tape collection, which, oh man, I wish I'd not got rid of. Purely because what they go for now and how collectible they are. Again, because Generation Z, Generation Z, now think they're cool, right? And it's mad what some of them go for. I had a few hundred. I started buying tapes from like the age of 10 and had tapes and were buying tapes all the way through to when I started getting CDs at 16, 17. So I had a few hundred tapes of rock stuff. And yeah, they just all just got rid of them all. I did manage. I just kind of like sold some cheap to like a friend at school who had even more tapes than I did. But yeah, man, I kind of wish And in some ways, like I probably would never play them or use them, so they would have just been taking up room. But yeah, some of what they command now, some of the price of them. So wow, okay. So yeah, then I obviously made the transition to CD, but so yeah, well, back to my point, what I was saying. It's like it's a snapshot of who you are, and tells us the timeline of your life. And you think, oh right, yeah, I remember like where when I bought that album and what that represented at that point in my life, or certain albums. Not everything, obviously, in your music collection has that or has any significance necessarily, but an awful lot of it does. I just can't bring myself to part with that, man. And it's not because I don't think of myself as being a very materialistic person. It's more just about the sentimental, I guess, in some ways. And yeah, just also just the whole tangibility of like there's something about having an album on a format in your hand that will always somehow be better. But yeah, like I say, not to take away from the digital download stuff, because don't get me wrong, I loved the whole, and still do. I need to get back onto it. The whole FLAC lossless audio, fuck man, awesome, right? 24-bit, 192. Now 32-bit, right? There's not many of those available, but you're talking like studio, which is as good as it gets. Which of course, is way better than CD quality. But then again, there's the argument there is like, well, unless you've got like a really high end hi-fi system, are you really noticing that difference? Something to be said for that, I guess. I think you can probably notice in the detail the jump from CD to FLAC lossless. I think it depends on what it is, I guess. But yeah, I like that whole thing. It was great. It was like, yeah, I've got the best quality that is possible for this album, whatever. But by and large, let's face it, CDs sound great. And I think also as well, if you've got a good system or half decent system nowadays, anyway, the DACs are so good. It kind of almost like upgrade your CD anyway. Where was I even going with all this? I don't even know. But yeah, no. So I've had a good afternoon. I was only in there for about an hour and a half, whatever. Like I say, 90% of it's vinyl. Saw a few on there that I would have liked. Like a Tool double album. Wasn't an official release. It was like two vinyls, and it's sort of like you meant to get them separately, but they're kind of like part of a parcel. That would be like 40 quid. And then I did see like an Appetite for Destruction first press, the band album cover, really good condition, 1987 for 50 quid. It's about right. Yeah, a few other albums, some decent stuff. It's a lot of reissues. Even those, like I say, they command money. Pink Floyd reissues, a lot of grunge reissues, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, that sort of stuff. And even the reissues, they're like, you're looking at like 25 to 35 quid just for one of them. It's like, damn, And sometimes the quality of the artwork is not great resolution. So it's like it looks. A lot of them just look a bit naff, like they've done it off on their own printer. It's like what the fuck. What you expect? What would have been? Well, I guess still would be. The sort of bad resolution that you'd expect to find on a on an unofficial release, right? What's the word I'm looking for? Complete mind blank. No, gone from my brain. And I'm even drinking a coffee. Fuck, man. What am I talking about here? It will come into my brain as soon as I finish the video. And of course, a lot of those, the unofficial releases, some of those are rare ass, man. Even if I just look at the Guns N' Roses world, some of those, especially like the vinyl pressings, are really collectible, man. Like they're as sought after as like official stuff released on Geffen from back in the day, Yeah, it's mad. And some of them are really cool. Some of them are done really well. And the cool thing about them was, like, especially back in the day when I was a kid, way before the internet where you could just find anything you wanted. You'd see these albums and that, and they always had tracks and stuff on them that like you'd never heard before, or literally, just weren't available on anything else. Rare demos, outtakes, and live performances and stuff. So yeah, they're always they're cool. But yeah, some of the reissue artwork, I was thinking, fuck, the resolution on that, it looks shit, man. Especially in that, like you would have thought, for the reissues, like official reissues, right? We're not talking like the unofficial ones. An official reissue of an album, you just think, fuck, why does the artwork look so shit, man? It's like the resolution, like not as clear, as like crisp looking. Not always. Like I saw Caravan land in the grey and pink, literally just now. The original 70s vinyl, and right next to it was the reissued. And yeah, the reissued one was like it enhanced the pink mountains and all that. It looked pretty cool. But yeah, some of them are like, for just like some of the Nirvana ones or whatever. Like, just think, fuck, man. And I know they're like old band photos and weren't great resolution. You just think, fuck, you could. I don't know. They just look a bit naff. Some of them. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the whole vinyl world is something else, man. Like I say, I'll splash out on something like as a collector now and then, but I can't be. I can't go down that rabbit hole of like starting to collect a huge vinyl collection. Just can't do it, man. So I've just got to stick with the CDs, I think. But yeah, I mean, what do you do though when you run out of room? Luckily, I've not got to that, but yeah, sorry to circle back. I think what I was saying is like, yeah, there's something great and tangible about having a physical thing, right? And but yeah, I think I was saying like it looks cool. It does look visually, it looks cool, but my girlfriend laughs because she's just like, well, when are you ever going to listen to all of these? Like she just thinks like there's just too many albums, like there's too much there, so you're never going to get time to listen to them all. And I guess she has a point, like that's true to an extent, but it's not really. It's about having the choice, right? It's about being able to go, right, what genre do I want to listen to? What do I fancy listening to? And well, I've got all of this to choose from. So in theory, I should always be able to find something I want to listen to. So yeah, I don't know. It's funny. She doesn't quite get that. But yeah, I get it. Probably like from someone like. I mean, she doesn't get me wrong. She knows her music. Like she's one of these that. She grew up listening to different stuff than me, as you can imagine. Like a girl in the 80s, and like, she's like 3 years older than me, so she was banging to Madonna and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, she's like an encyclopedia of, I'd be like, oh, what year was this released in? Like, and she'd be like, right, yeah, 1987 or something. 9 times out of 10, she's right. So she knows her music, or at least in that genre, and house and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, she's just never really like amassed a collection like I have, sort of thing. So I think she probably just thinks, why do you need to? Why? Why did you need to do that? Like, it's just taking up room or whatever. So, yeah, and I don't know, and the money, but I'm not out on fucking piss every weekend. The amount of money you can spend over at a bar, right? Literally pissing it away. I'm not out in the pub every week. I'm hardly ever out at the pub. Don't really drink that much. I do socially, but yeah, 45 now. Like, I'm not going out. When I was in my 20s into my early 30s, I was still had that social scene where I was going to out in the town every Friday night after work, getting buried up and spending money on that. Like, fuck, well, because I'm not doing that anymore. So right there, I'm saving a whole lot of money. So I don't really feel that bad. I am in saving mode at the moment. I am saving to buy property. But fuck, you gotta have something out of life, haven't you? You gotta have something. Like I say, I'm not out in the piss, so it doesn't make me. I don't feel dreadful about dropping a few notes on some CDs. I will have for years. It's not being pissed down the drain. To me, it's not a waste of money. So yeah, fuck, it's a hobby or whatever. Everyone needs a hobby, right? I could be spending loads of money on another hobby. So I'm not really spending that much. Invariably they're all second hand. So it's not often that I buy new CDs, new albums. Now and then I will be buying Duff McKagan's new album. You can get it on pre-order right now. That's coming out in end of October. So yeah, done all right today. I don't even know what I'm on about. I just thought I'd do a video just saying, what I've been up to. So yeah, it's just kind of nice to spend a couple of hours in your own world, albeit surrounded by people flipping through albums or whatever. But it is very much you in your own bubble, and you can kind of just I'm gonna look it through. Always enjoyed it. Just take a little bit of discipline. You need the discipline, and I've got better as I'm older. Of when you see something, not necessarily immediately like, right, stash that up, and then think, fuck, or later, do I really need to get that or spend that? Bit of discipline to okay, that's there. I've still got the whole room to look around. Just maybe think about that one. Just hide that down the back there, and I know it's there, and I can come back for it. You get a bit more chill about these things as you go on. Well, and this is a Guns N' Roses thing, of course, and it's something I see that's rare, and of course I know I don't fuck about because I know my stuff. Invariably, yeah, I pretty much do. When it comes to GNR issues, how rare they are, what they should command, and all that sort of thing. Releases, pretty fairly clued up in the GNR domain, but there's still an awful lot of shit I don't have. I mean, honestly, it's just one band. There's still promos and still box sets and things that I've still to get around to getting. Some of them shocking that I don't have as a massive Guns N' Roses fan still. Like, shocking that I don't have. And like, I'm embarrassed to like say as a Guns N' Roses fan, to be honest with you. Do I say? So yeah, this is shocking, and I'll be like absolutely like pummeled. Like, how can you call yourself a Guns N' Roses fan and not own this? Like, get a grip. I will caveat this with the fact that it was one of those like, oh, we'll get round to it one of these days, and I've been getting around to it for 25 years. A friend of mine does have it. He's also a massive Guns N' Roses fan. He got it back in the day at a reasonable price. Of course, I wish I'd got it back then at a reasonable price. I think he spent 150 quid on it at the time. But at 16 years old, 150 quid is a shit ton of money to spend on a vinyl. It's no small amount of money now, right? But in hindsight, all that, but you don't know back then, do you? You don't realise. So it was always one of these things. I was like, okay, well, I will get around to it. Eventually, I will own it and get it. But there's no rush. Like, so it's 25 years, I still have not got one. And of course, now it's a lot harder to trust what you're buying because, he bought it in Beano's store in Croydon. Rest in peace, is long gone. But you could pretty much trust what you were buying in there had been vetted properly, and you were buying a legit, something that's not copied. But the market's now flooded with like bootleg. Fuck, I do worry sometimes. Bootleg. That was more unofficial issue. Bootlegs. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, Live Like a Suicide. Yeah. Then 1986 Guns N' Roses EP that came out prior to Appetite for Destruction. Nothing live about it, of course. It wasn't live. They snatched the live sound from different artists and recording all together and display it over the top as a joke sort of thing. So it's not live, but it's a mini EP. Well, there were only 10,000 pressed worldwide on the vinyl. And funny enough, the tape cassette, it was released on tape as well. Vinyl and tape. And the tape is even rarer. Although the vinyl looks cooler, right? Stuff from Axl, their big hair and the pink. Looks awesome. Same cover you'll see in the inside of Lies album. And some of the same tracks. But yeah, I've never got around to getting one, and it's a fucking disgrace. It is a disgrace. I realise this, and I'm completely aware of it. But now you're looking at 250, 300 quid for maybe even more for like a mint. And there's not that many mint around. And sealed? Fuck, man, there must be hardly any. That would come on hundreds. But mint. And it's not, this is the thing, right? It's not worth, I've had many opportunities to buy one in like fair, good condition. I'm not interested in fair or good condition. I'm not. If I'm going to have a copy of Live Like a Suicide, to me, it has to be near or mint. And it's just one of those things. It's always like, fuck, That's a few £100. I've got car MOT, bills, this to pay for, that to pay for. It's a luxury, and it's like, fuck, man. So that's why it's always just been down the line. I will get one eventually, one day. I know it's a travesty. It's a fucking embarrassment. The Guns N' Roses fan. And there are a couple of other examples, but that's the standout one. And really, to be honest with you, Live Like a Suicide is kind of like, that's the one thing as a Guns N' Roses fan or collector that he's like, you know, the Holy Grail. Albeit, on the face of it, that is Live Like a Suicide. Albeit, excuse me, that was rather rude, wasn't it? Being a Guns N' Roses fan such as I am, who is aware of what's being released, there are things rarer than Live Like a Suicide. There are certain box sets that were released, say, during the Use Your Illusion period, that were limited, seriously limited, way more limited than 10,000 copies, that were actually never released into the public domain, so to speak. They were released to company execs and stuff within the industry. Ridiculously rare. Fucking crazy rare. Rare to the point where I have yet to actually see one listed. I just know they exist, and I've seen photos of them and pictures and what they look like, and the whole breakdown of, you know, about it, sort of thing. Even that is hard to find, the information on them, but they exist, and they're so fucking rare. Like, you spend your whole lifetime trying to track one down, because they either don't exist anymore, they've been gotten rid of, or whoever's got one is not fucking parting ways with it. Way rarer than Live Like a Suicide, man. Like fucking Holy Grail. That aside, Live Like a Suicide is still obviously very cool. Yeah, so that's that. Anyway, I'm going to drive now, because I'm sat in a car park and people are looking at me and like, why is he talking to himself? They probably aren't thinking that, but I'm thinking that. Anyway, so that was my little breakdown, my update on my afternoon here. Now I want to drive home and make myself some lunch and go and feed my girlfriend's cat, Rosebud. Right, over and out, guys.